So we've been living in Venice for 4 years now, beautiful Venice, but it has changed a lot. So I want to go over some of the things that are different now than they used to be and about where the city's heading and if it's a good fit for you. Let's get started. By the way, if you are looking to buy or sell a home in this area, get a hold of our real estate team. We would love to help you out. We know the area very well at this point. Call or text us 941-221-1897 at any time. We'll always have your best interest in mind. So we moved to Venice, Florida from Orlando, and then Orlando, we moved there from Wisconsin, a smaller town in Wisconsin. Orlando was a little bit crazy for us, so we decided we wanted to do something a little bit quieter. But also, when we just came to Venice, we just fell in love with it. It was just something about it just seemed almost fake and not real. It was just like so perfect. It was unbelievable. And we're like, okay, we don't know how we're going to move here, but we got to make it happen. So let's start off with what Venice is and why we fell in love with it and what it was when we moved here. And that can maybe give you an idea if it's a good fit for you or what it was like and how it's changed since then. So when we first discovered Venice, we came to the beach and we just loved the downtown because you have to basically go through the downtown to get to the main beach, the Venice beach. There are other beaches in the area, but we discovered the downtown and that was amazing. And like we came over this bridge, I'll never forget it. And we literally are coming down the bridge and you could just see the entire downtown in front of you if you're coming up the Venice Avenue Bridge. And when we saw it, it was like, whoa, this looks cool. And so we started walking around and I think they had a like classic car show that weekend. And there was just all these people around being super friendly, saying hi. And just the whole vibe of it was so pleasant and just welcoming, and at the same time, like I said before, almost didn't feel real. It felt surreal. Because then when we went to the beach, it was like there's something about the beach here. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like the way the sand drops off a little bit quicker and the water's just so like, it depends on the day, but when we came, it was like more of a turquoisey clear color with a little bit of like a white milky color to it, if that makes sense. And then just seeing the jetty kind of curve around from Venice Beach. So if you're facing out towards the beach, which I'm going to take you there, there's like this entire area of the beach and then it curves around as you get out towards the jetty. And it's just something about the whole layout of it all made it feel kind of not real. I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like you're in this big giant kiddie pool. And then you add in the sand dunes there and all of that and all, you know, the landscaping, the entire downtown. At the time we came, it was being revitalized actually. And I want to say second and third time after, they were starting to like add some more of these, you know, these trees and things like that that you see over here and these potted plants and things like that. The more and more we came, the better and better it got, and it was already amazing to begin with. And that was just like done deal for us. Okay, this place is incredible. It just has a nice quiet feel, lots of parks and things like that. So that's when we knew like, okay, this is where we want to call home. So after we moved here, obviously we had to explore all the different shops, the different restaurants, which there's a lot of here. But when we first moved, the one thing we were a little hesitant about, and this is one of the ways that's changed, was we weren't sure if there was going to be enough stuff for us as far as shopping and restaurants and things to do and things of that nature. And it was funny because literally at the time that we were looking to buy here, they were building this big new shopping center area, which now is almost completely filled out. It's like 90% filled out. There's a couple more vacant areas that are going to be filled in, but there's a crisp and green place, which I actually just ate at there. There's a Joint Chiropractic. There's a Aldi and Pineapple Tequila restaurant and just a whole bunch more restaurants and shops there that really help fill out the area. And now there's even more stuff coming on the area by 75, kind of in the North Venice area and near the hospital as well in that area, which is another thing that's changed. There's a brand new Sarasota Memorial Hospital on the North Venice part of town. So literally when we were looking to move, it was already starting to change. And I think the big thing to understand about the difference between Venice now and Venice before is that the overall qualities that we enjoyed before we moved here are still here. The friendly people, the small town atmosphere, that was another big thing to us. You know, it felt like a small town, which was kind of more our speed, what we were used to coming from a smaller town in Wisconsin. I should say small city, because it's a little bit more than a town, I would say, but you get the idea. You know, there's enough to do. All the shopping that you really need is here as far as big box goes. Plenty of mom and pop shops and restaurants as well. But on top of that, now there's a few more big box stores coming to the area. And another thing that we loved about this area is that the downtown also has like basketball courts, tennis courts over here, and this trail I'm about to walk you through that goes right to the beach. So having that all together was amazing. That's one thing, again, that has not changed. It's still the same. But here's where things are different. On top of the changes of the new, you know, restaurants and big box stores and, you know, shopping coming to the area, giving you more amenities, there's also been a boom in popularity. Now, I've actually noticed a difference. Both me and my wife, Haiti, have noticed a difference. But when we first came to the area, this was like right before COVID. And then when we decided to actually move to the area, it was literally when like COVID, you know, and all the craziness with that literally was just getting started. So it gave us a little bit of a different perception of the area because there wasn't as many people out doing things, because it was like when the lockdowns kind of had started and all that kind of stuff, right? And so there just wasn't a lot of people out, period. I remember we actually drove through Orlando, and Orlando was like crazy traffic, and it felt like a ghost town. Like hardly anyone on I-4, which if you've ever been on I-4, you know that highway was insane, and still is to this day. It's a little bit better now that they've done some construction, but then it was like almost always crazy. It was in the middle of construction, but during that time, no one. So because of that, I think it gave us a little bit different perception, and probably a lot of people that came to Venice around that time, because it made it seem even quieter than it was. And as the people started coming to the area, I mean, real estate went crazy everywhere, right? The amount of people in the area went crazy also on top of that. Like there's a lot of people visiting. The real estate prices went up way more here than even other parts of the country, because the demand was just so high. You started seeing people just flocking to Venice, and I can see why. I mean, look at this. It's gorgeous, right? You're talking about an amazing downtown, walking trails, super quiet, super pleasant. But with that did come some changes that some people do not like or did not like. And that was the increased amount of traffic, the increased amount of people. Now, back to what I said, you know, with me and Haiti, my wife, noticing a difference in the last year, especially like this summer and a little bit in the winter, but I'd say more so this summer. The last couple summers, a lot of people go back up north, a lot of the snowbirds and things like that. And a lot of people, you know, that would normally come to visit, they'll do that in the winter and not so much in the summer. So the summers usually are quieter. However, last summer and the summer before, we noticed a stark difference in one way that we thought it was changing. And it was that there was just a lot more people here, even in the summers. And we thought, okay, more people are staying year round or staying full time. This summer though, we've noticed it's feeling a little bit more chill, back to mellow. Maybe not like lockdown level, you know, mellow, but there's not quite as much hustle and bustle. It doesn't feel like anyways. It's a little bit breezier, easier to get around town, which it always, you know, even in the busier quote unquote summers, it always has been. But this summer in particular, we've noticed a little bit of actually a pretty big difference as far as the amount of people that are out driving, out doing things and things like that. So there's not, you know, as many people for restaurants, you know, people in stores, parking, driving, all that kind of stuff. Now, before I get to my next point, real quick, take note of this beautiful walking trail. In fact, let's go on the walking trail instead of on this side sidewalk. This side sidewalk is pretty pleasant though. So another big way that it's changed is Welland Park. Now, this is something we get comments on often, or we see comments from a lot of people saying that's not Venice. And no, technically it's not in some ways, because a lot of times like your mailing address will be of Venice, but most of your utilities and things like that are going to go through the city of Northport, and technically it is Northport. But it still has had a major impact on Venice in a lot of ways. Number one, is brought a lot more year-round consistent residents, and with that, you know, traffic and both on the roads, in the stores, restaurants, things like that, right? But it's also brought a lot of other things as well, such as restaurants, shops, a brand new downtown to go to, a lot of things in that area on that side of things. So that's really changed the area, because on top of all that, it seems like that area is drawing a little bit more, you know, families and things of that nature. Now, there's still a lot of retirees moving to the Welland Park area, and even snowbirds and things like that, but we're seeing a lot more year-round residents as a whole, I would say, moving to that area. Now, it's changed everything about the way Venice feels, because it is so close to that south end of Venice, and now you have access to more things to do, more mom and pop restaurants. A lot of the stuff going in there is that sort of thing. And there's a brand new Costco that's really, really close to, you know, most people that are living in Venice, unless you're on the north end, but even then it's not too far. And if you're on the north end of Venice, you could probably just as easily get up to Sarasota for, you know, more options like a Sam's Club and things like that up there. Also, one thing worth noting is the North Venice area. Now, this is something that doesn't get talked about a whole lot. I feel like our channel is like one of the very few places you'll hear about North Venice pretty much anywhere. And so North Venice is this area that's basically kind of north and northeast of where Venice is, you know, in Venice proper, like the island and things like that, where I am right now. And it puts you a little bit closer to the highway and a little bit closer to Sarasota. So there's some more things coming to that area as far as, you know, the new hospital, shopping, you know, there's some more, well, not a lot of shopping. I'd say more fast food type chains and things like that, drive-throughs, a Starbucks, a lot of things in that area on that side of things. But something that has not changed is you still have this beautiful banyan tree. You still got these trails. You've got, you know, the walkability of the Venice Island and things like that have not changed one bit. You still got access to your beaches, and things aren't, you know, as crowded, at least it seems like this summer. Now, we'll see how things change. On that note, things have changed a little bit with less traffic, and I think a lot of that has to do with the real estate market. So let's talk about how that's changed. The real estate market went from going crazy hot to now being kind of stagnant, I guess would be a good word for it. We're not seeing dramatic price drops in homes right now, but we are seeing them sit on the market a little bit longer, and we're seeing people have a little bit more homes to pick from when they're looking to move to the area. Now, how that will change going forward, stay tuned. I'll talk about that in a second. But right now, you have a little bit more options at the time of filming this as far as homes to pick from. And there's a little bit more room for negotiation. You know, places aren't just going crazy above asking. You could maybe get a deal. According to, you know, the latest market data, generally I'd say for a place you're looking at spending about 96 to like up to 100% of what it's listed for. So, you know, if a place is listed for 300,000, you can maybe get it for 275 at a really good deal, maybe 285, you know, something like that is a possibility. Of course, every home is going to be different, and it's going to depend on, you know, how well it's priced, location, all those little details are going to matter. But we have seen a cooling off. Some factors that have led to this, obviously, the increasing mortgage interest rate is a big one. We have seen some increases in insurance. There is some competition coming into the state, and we have seen for some people their insurance rates go from going up to back down over the last year. So, you know, there's some good things and bad things going on. Some things that are going to increase costs a little bit, but then that's also bringing competition. Another way it's changed is that we've noticed, okay, when we first moved here, we thought to ourselves, wow, like, this is honestly a steal, being in a beach city by beautiful beaches, an amazing downtown, one of our favorites in all of Florida, but still having that small town feel. We just felt like, for as nice and as well kept as the entire city is, and all the other things, you know, that with the shops and the restaurants and the downtown and the beach and all that included, we thought it was honestly like a steal of a deal that what the real estate prices were at the time. Then once you saw the real estate boom, you know, and things going crazy, we felt like basically, you know, a lot of people were comparing it to the prices that it was before and saying, well, not, you know, now it's overpriced. It's not fair, because they were comparing it to those prices. But I think that maybe misses the mark, because to us, once it hit those prices, we were like, this is probably what it should have been the entire time, and people are just finding out about it is really what we felt like happened, because there was a lot more, you know, of Venice on different, you know, blogs as far as best place to live and YouTube videos, and you know, people seeing maybe our channel and talking about it and things like that. So you started seeing it come on more people's radar, but you'd also see in a lot of market data, you know, the fastest growing areas, and a lot of times Northport, Venice, Sarasota, that metro, they would just list it as Northport a lot of time, would get listed as that, and a lot of that was because of the whole Welland Park area, and Lakewood Ranch contributed to that as well, because a lot of times Bradenton's also actually included in that data. So all those things led to some of that increase in, you know, the demand and the amount of people coming to the area and all those things that we talked about. Now with prices flatlining, and in some cases maybe going slightly down, it just depends on, you know, the house and things of that nature, and where you're looking to buy. It feels to me like it's a pretty decent deal again. And I think what we're going to see happen is once interest rates go down again, I think a lot of that demand is going to come back, because it's going to become more affordable. And now when it's more affordable, and then, again, all the things that make it great, all the beautiful homes in the area and things of that nature, you're going to have a lot more people wanting to pounce at that moment. I think you got a lot of people waiting, and when that happens, you're going to see more competition, and when that competition comes, prices probably will shoot up. Now that's, obviously I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but based on how things have played out and the popularity of this area and all the things that make it great not going away, I just don't see that changing. I don't see that demand completely going away. And if you also put into consideration all the new amenities coming, all that shopping that I mentioned that was just being built and almost completely, finished in the Venice area, all the stuff coming to Welland Park, all the stuff that just recently got completed there, like the Costco and things like that, this area as a whole has become a lot more valuable, and that's going to be reflected, I think, once it becomes a little bit more affordable as far as the interest rates go. Now, with all these changes that have taken place, the question is it still, a great place to live? Is it still the place it was? Is it the place it was? No. It has changed. It's busier. There's more people. The whole feel of the area is different with the Welland Park area coming up and the North Venice area starting to expand. And you're starting to see, the gap between Sarasota and Venice shrink. So it is starting to feel like you're a little bit more part, and I say this in quotations, part of a metropolitan area. In a sense, you have quick access to get to Inglewood, which I haven't even mentioned. That's really close to get to from Venice. They have a historic, quaint, old Florida feel downtown. They've got a beach. Across from the beach, there's all kinds of, little shops and restaurants and things like that where you can actually feel the ocean breeze. It's really, really nice. You're close distance to Northport, and that gap is shrinking with Welland Park. And now, with the North Venice area, starting to get a little bit bigger and expanding, you're starting to push a little bit closer into Osprey and Nokomis, which Venice and Nokomis pretty much are 100% connected and kind of feel like the same city. And as you push north, you're going to start to feel more and more like it's part of that Sarasota area, which Sarasota is also basically part of Bradenton and Lakewood Ranch now. And so because of that, you're going to feel like you have more access and things to do, and some of those areas filling in between is going to also bring with it more restaurants, shops, and things to do. And all those areas are going to start to be a little bit more connected now. So it's going to give you a little bit more access. On the flip side, it's going to make things a little bit busier, right? It's going to make things a little bit more congested. But I think if you just watch this video, watch me walking and talking and look at the traffic going by, go ahead and rewind a little bit if you want to, and just see how many people you see walking. In the summer right now, it's pretty chill, right? It's pretty relaxed. It still has that small town feel. That still has not changed, and I don't think that's something that ever will. And you still got yourself access to beaches, some of the quieter ones. Now, yes, they get a little bit busier now than they used to, but still, if you know where the right ones are, which if you do want to, call or text our real estate team and we'll gladly, help you move to the area and tell you which beaches are a little bit more quiet. But compared to like your Siesta Key in Sarasota, these beaches are a lot more chill, a lot more relaxed, not quite as packed. Check it out right now, actually. There's not a ton of people out here, right? And it's still gonna have that beautiful feel. So that's one thing that will not change. It does get a little bit harder, I will say this, to get parking at the more popular beaches, especially like during spring break and things of that nature. Then it gets really crazy, and it's a little bit harder to find maybe a spot on the beach or to find parking. But if you know where to go, you can still get out to these beaches and enjoy these turquoise waters. And finally, I think one thing worth noting is that it's always been a pretty family-friendly city and also a lot of retirees. That's, again, one thing I don't think we're gonna see change anytime soon. That really, the one thing I would say has changed is there's a little bit more families now and a little bit less retirees. It seems like that split of the population has changed a little bit, veering towards a little bit more younger people moving to the area and a little bit more families, but it's definitely not, it hasn't changed into like this party city or a city for young professionals and things like that. So I think that's one thing that hasn't changed and probably never will. If you want to know more about living in Venice, Florida, check out this video right here. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button. And again, if you want to move to the area, call or text our team at 941-221-1897. Call or text anytime. We'll always have your best interest in mind. Thanks for watching and live breezy.